The February 21st update for Marvel Snap is here, and some of these changes are pretty spicy, I gotta say. Some of the cards got moved around a little bit, some of them got some buffs, some of them got some nerfs, and I'm very interested to talk about them with you today. What's going on, everybody? My name is Nikki, and I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. Today, we're gonna be taking a look at some of these updates here in the February 21st patch for Marvel Snap. We got a lot of really interesting things to talk about today, folks. But alas, before we get into the action, make sure you snap the subscribe button. All right, the first thing we got to talk about is the Series 5 cards going into Series 4. We have Silver Surfer, Null, Darkhawk, and Sentry. This is a pretty huge change because I think these cards see a lot of play these days. Silver Surfer, still very good even after the nerfs. Null is a crazy card that's in a lot of crazy destroy decks right now. Darkhawk, one of the best cards in the game, hands down. Sentry, he doesn't see a lot of play. I'm wondering if we're going to get some changes to Sentry soon or what's going to happen, but I don't see a whole lot of that card. Honestly, I think this is a really good change because more people are going to have potential more access to these cards, and I think that's always good. I think those cards have kind of been outside of reach for a little while for a lot of the mid to upper mid level players because not everybody is just a whale swiping the card, right? So I think this is a very good change. From Series 4 to Series 3, we have Agent Coulson, Maria Hill, and Helicarrier. This, I don't know how much this is going to matter. Some of these cards are a little mid, honestly. Maria's okay. Agent Coulson is sometimes in certain decks. Helicarrier has his own certain decks, but honestly, I just think this is kind of whatever. I don't think this is a huge change. I'm really focused on the Series 5 to Series 4 changes. Null, Darkhawk, and Surfer being in there. Very good stuff. Okay, it also mentions here Series 5 and Series 4 now have shared rotation protection in the token shop. They've added a confirmation dialogue when purchasing season pass levels, and tapping the credits or gold icons at the top of the screen will navigate to the shop. For the sake of being nice and easy on the ears, we're not going to cover any of the visuals or the bug fixes or anything like that. We just want the card information, like the buffs and the nerfs. That's what we're going to be going over here today. So the first card here, Darkhawk, went from a 4-1 to a 4-0. The devs said Darkhawk is an especially powerful card. As we prepared this balance change before the Silver Surfer and Zabu nerfs went live, we didn't want to hit him too hard. However, we definitely felt that knocking off at least one power from him is warranted, and we will continue to monitor his performance. So obviously Darkhawk, a very powerful card. I think that this is one of the best cards in the game right now, and I think he is definitely strong, really strong. However, I don't know how much -1 power is really going to affect him in the long run because he's still going to get huge. If you make Devil Dinosaur a 5-2 instead of a 5-3, I don't know. I mean, I don't see the difference, honestly. It's going to be going from an odd number to an even number now with slightly one less power. I think there's going to be a couple situations where it might matter, where that one power is going to make a huge difference. But I see this card being still a threat, still a very big threat personally. I think that this is a good change. I definitely like taking down some of the cards that are super popular, that are very powerful. But I don't know how crazy of a change this is personally. So I like it. I like the attempt to bring him down a little bit, but I don't know how much it's actually going to affect Darkhawk in the long run. Next, we have Thanos. Thanos went from a 6-8 to a 6-11. The devs said, we think Thanos is one of the coolest cards, and we're a bit sad that he himself isn't played often. Yeah, maybe because nobody has him. Most Thanos decks focus primarily on making good use of the stones, but we want to make sure the Mad Titan himself has enough power to play. So essentially, when Thanos buffs up and he gets the plus 16 power, he was normally a 6-18 after all the stones. Now this pushes him up to 6-21, which I think that's officially the biggest card in the game now, right? I think Infinite was the biggest one before. So now he's a 6-21 if he gets his win condition. So that's pretty cool. He's going to just be a big dude. And I think that makes sense for Thanos. I kind of like this buff. I think this makes sense. I'm happy with it. All right, Sandman got a little bit of a nerf, but also got buffed, and I kind of like this one. He went from a 4-1 to a 5-5, so he costs one more energy, but at least when you play the card, it doesn't feel like you're just, pooping out one power. Many of the strongest decks right now have strategies centered around playing multiple cards on turn 6. Sandman should be a good answer to these decks, but he didn't quite have the sand to stand up to them with his previous stat line. We're giving him a bit more power to make him a bit more competitive, but also subsequently bumping up his cost. I really like this change. This is probably the change that I'm most excited for because I always enjoyed Sandman as a card. Even early on in like early days of Pool 2, I was playing Sandman, trying to make the card work. I had a bunch of Sandman decks that I was like, how can I make this card work? But it always felt like it was missing something. And I think the 1 power was always the thing that made me stray away from the card the most because I really felt like it wasn't worth it a lot of the times. Playing a card like Sandman on turn 4 for 1 power when everybody else is playing like God knows what, a White Queen, you know, if they're playing a Patriot deck, they're just bumping out so much power on turn 4 trying to get ready for the Patriot Mystique buff. It's just, it didn't feel good enough. Even if it was restricting your opponent from their turn 5 and turn 6 play a little bit, it was sometimes too little too late. And now I'm hoping that being able to play him on turn 5 with 5 power, hopefully that's enough for this card. I really love Sandman. I love the concept of this card. And hopefully this becomes a good counter card, like a good turn 5 counter, like a leech almost, that this could actually mess up somebody's deck, maybe make them retreat and cause some havoc. I'm really hoping that we see more Sandman play. All right, the cards below are rather weak at the moment, so we're giving them a small buff to help them perform a bit better. I like these a lot, I'm not gonna lie. Spider-Woman went from a 5/7 to a 5/8. I love Spider-Woman. I loved her in Pool 1. I love her now. I love this buff. I'm okay with it. I don't know why she's so underplayed at the moment. I think this card is good. I think this card is pretty good. She can now have 8 power when she comes out and then does potentially up to -4 to a location. You know, putting out anywhere between -1 to -4 depending on how many cards are there. And she's just a big card. You know, now being a 5/8, I really feel like we're going to potentially see more Spider-Woman. I get why people would probably put Arrow over Spider-Woman just as a more common card, but Arrow can go wrong. You know, there's definitely situations where that card can be like, oops, I didn't mean to do that. And Spider-Woman has a little bit of that just linear consistency that she's just, as long as there's not a Cosmo there or like a Luke Cage, she's pretty much always going to work. So I feel like this card is still very, very good. And just to dump out 8 power on turn 5 is good. So let's see more Spider-Woman play. Where's she at? All right, Namor went from a 4/5 to a 4/6. All right, +1 power to Namor. This is very interesting of a change to me. This card doesn't see a lot of play, and it's because of the fact that it's just like, how do you set it up? I feel like if you really want to play Namor, if he's like in your deck, like, and your intention is to play him around the fact that you're not always going to get Atlantis, you'll probably win that one location, sure. You know, you could buff the location with stuff like Claw, I guess, or what else buffs Mr. Fantastic? I don't know, but I don't really see this card doing too much, personally. I think this card is kind of whack. So I don't know how big of a change this is for Namor. He's good at Atlantis, I guess, but so is Orca. So I don't know. I don't know how you make these cards better without giving them just 1 billion power. I'm going to be honest. These guys have a tough job. They have a really tough job trying to make this card good. I don't know. Sorry, Namor. Okay, and Dagger has gone from a 2/1 to a 2/2. Dagger's an interesting one because I think she might potentially be like the best move card. Like the one that actually like gets buffed for movement out of like Kraven, Human Torch, all of them. I think she might be the best. And I think she can get huge. Dagger is just like a big card. So the fact that she got buffed, I don't know how crazy that is to me. And if their intention is to buff move decks as a whole, they should look to buff other things instead, in my opinion. Dagger, I don't think needed this. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's overpowered or anything. But I think they should have looked at the other cards. I think stuff like Cloak, Multiple Man, like I don't know, those cards to me are just kind of super mid. I don't know what a better way to buff movement would be, guys. I have no idea. I guess that's why they pay them the big bucks, but something has to be done because I feel like movement is in such a place where there's just so many counters to it. There's so many ways to nullify it. Like I don't think it's that good. So I don't know how to make it better without just giving these cards a bunch of power and be like, screw it, here you go. The only thing I could think of, maybe increase the amount these cards get buffed by. So instead of like +2, maybe it's like +1 on the first move, +2 on the second, and then as you keep moving it, it increases something to that extent, maybe. But other than that, I don't know if there's a good way of doing it without making it super broken, because then these cards are just going to be astronomically big. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about Dagger getting buffed? Do you think it was necessary? Do you think they should have buffed other movement cards instead? Do you think movement as a mechanic just needs a rework? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. And there you have it. That is it for the February 21st patch for Marvel Snap. These are some very exciting changes, and I'm definitely looking forward to them. If you're looking forward to more Marvel Snap content, how about you get better at the game? Check out this video right here for 5 tips to help you get better at Marvel Snap. Thank you guys so much for watching. Love you guys. See you next time.